Right, so where are we? We are... right, now this is looking a little bit more promising. Okay, so we've got one nebula there. Let's have a bank around. There's kind of the Orion Nebula. It's still not great from this angle. There are some weird sort of styrations there as well. Just about to see those in the background. Not quite sure what those are. Just turn off the M-class in the filter for such dense area. Okay, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I'll have a look around for that. Okay, so that's kind of the Orion Nebula. Now, I don't know in Elite Dangerous. If you look at the Orion Nebula in a telescope, let's just do that suggestion. Let's turn off the star filtering. So I want the map, don't I? Which stars was it? M class stars. Right, let's do that. There we go. Okay, so it's a little bit clearer. There we go. So that's the Orion Nebula. Now, is there a way? Because I've got to turn off this wretched. Let's turn that off. There we go. Right, now we can see a little bit clearer. Zoom in, because what I really want is the trapezium. Now I don't know what the trapezium stars are actually called, and I'm not quite sure they're in here. That's the Orion Nebula. Let's try this one here. That really is right inside the nebula. So let's try. I'm going to type it in the chat again. Let's try V2338 Orion. So let's go there and see what that looks like. Okay, if we can plot a route across there. I want fastest routes, ideally. Should be able to find a route. There we go. It's only one jump. Let's try that again. See if we can go. That looks like one of the trapezium stars. Now, the reason I want to find a trapezium star is because inside the Orion Nebula for real is where stars are being formed. Okay, so the Orion Nebula is a massive, massive cloud of dust. Now, to give you a sense of scale, this thing is not small. Okay, so our solar system is I don't know, let's say a few billion miles across. Okay, well that's peanuts to the these nebulas. These nebulas are light years across. They are hugely massive, massive, massive things. Now, whilst we can see them from Earth, they are not in any way dense as we would understand, something like an atmosphere or something. So, okay, there's lots and lots of dust and gas out here. That's very true. But when you spread dust and gas over several light years, it becomes quite thin. So there isn't enough gas out here to really be all that noticeable. Okay. In any other environment, the contents of a nebula would be a very, very good vacuum. All right. A very, very good vacuum indeed. So whilst you can see this stuff, it's the density is virtually nothing. There's just a few atoms every few centimeters cubed. Okay, there's literally nothing out here. There's more, there's way more stuff in low Earth orbit around the Earth, or even probably around the Moon, than there is out here. Okay, there just isn't much density of material, but there is enough for it to slowly compact under gravitational pull. Just about, okay, and slowly as this stuff happens, big clumps of this come together, and slowly and surely they compress. The pressure goes up, the heat goes up, and at some point there's enough gravitational force to pull all this stuff together, and boom, you have a star. Okay. And that's basically what nebulas do, is they make stars. And inside the nebula, the Orion Nebula, right now, right this minute, literally, stars are being made. So this is where we've gone to black holes. We haven't seen a neutron star yet, but we have been to black holes on this trip. That's where star stories end. Nebulas is where they begin, and these places are effectively still a nursery. This is where the stuff happens, and it's where stuff comes from. So that's what's quite nice about being on the inside. And the trapezium itself is, as the name suggests, 4 stars, which are quite close together and have literally just been born within the Orion Nebula. And we can't really see it all that well here, but I don't even know what I've done with the star now because I've flown so far away, but we are kind of within it at this point, which is quite interesting. I should be doing a scan, shouldn't I? Why am I not doing that? Make sure I get my exploration points as I'm flying along. But yeah, you couldn't step out and go, yeah, I can feel the nebula. It's very, 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 very thin. There's hardly anything out here at all. So there we go. I can see some more friend requests coming through. So having said that, let's get beyond here because there are other places to visit. So let's have a look at the galaxy map and zoom out a little bit. Now, what I'd like to do is see if I can get through. Okay, now I've lost some of the markers here. Okay, so there's where we are at the moment. Now Messier 78 is quite a nice object up here as well, and then I'm going to tool down to the Flame Nebula. So let's head up here, and we'll go and have a look at some other objects of interest. It's not too far away. Let's see if we can get a jump. So I want you to jump to, that's assuming the route plotter allows us to. There we go. Trapezium sector. CB-W, C2-4. Okay, let's go there. And we'll see what things look like from up in that perspective. Then we can look back at the Orion Nebula as well. And it will actually, in some ways, I'm hoping, look a little bit more spectacular from farther away than it does close up. So there we go. Now, some of you may know, actually, this week, Elite Dangerous is actually free if you want to pick up a new copy of it. And I've actually gone away and sneakily got myself a 3rd one because I've already got 2 accounts. If you go to the Epic Game Store, you can pick up a free copy of Elite Dangerous. So if you haven't tried the game yet and you're watching the stream and you've bizarrely not played it yet, then this is your chance, and it's a chance maybe for the rest of us to also get an alt copy so you can fly a new commander around. So I think that would be quite good fun if you haven't done that already. Because sometimes it's quite nice to have an account that's able to go off and explore the depths of space, and another one for kind of mucking around in the bubble when there are CGs and all those kind of things. Those sort of stuff as well. So there we are. We can see the NGC Nebula up there as well, not too far away.
Frameshift drive charging.
So yeah, NGC 7822 is nice. It looks like a string of pearls, and again, that's a very pleasant place to go and have a look at. So yes, that's a good one. If you look up the Distant Worlds 2 expedition that took place 18 months, 2 years ago now, there are some really, really good places to take pretty pictures of things, so that's really, really good. But yeah, grab an extra copy of Elite Dangerous right now. I think, if I'm right, you can integrate it with your current account as well. I think Frontier have put up some instructions on how to do that. So yes, that's quite cool as well. Yeah, pictures of asps in front of things. That used to be an Elite Dangerous tradition. It's less so now because not so many people fly asps anymore. But the asp was originally the go-to ship for flying around these kind of things. Right, so I'm just going to jump over there. I'm hoping this will look quite pretty. And we'll see, maybe we can see if we can find a planet to land on and just have a little tool around, because it's quite nice to have these things in the background of some of the stars. Let's see how we can do. And it's always fun to drive this, I think. Right, so with a bit of luck, I'm going to get close to this other nebula, which is always nice. So, okay, let's just drop out here. I can see a few people about, which is always encouraging. Well done. Just top up the fuel tanks. Right, so here we are. Let's have a look around. Fly away from the star for a bit. So there's again. So there we go. That's actually not bad. So there we go. That's actually quite good. Now, so there's some nice colorations here. We should be able to look back. There's the Orion Nebula sort of kind of behind us and around us. So that's quite good. Now is that the NGC that I was looking at? Let me just have a look at the galaxy map, see which direction I should be looking at. Okay, so there we go. These lines are really irritating, aren't they? So Messier 78. Okay, so there we go. The Orion Nebula in the background. It's sort of back against the Barnard's Loop as well, which is quite good. It's now crates in front of things. Yeah, crates is the new ASP. I like the ASP actually. I must admit, I am now a convert to the Crate Phantom instead of the ASP because it's a little bit bigger and it can do a few more things. You can take a bit more equipment along with you, which is quite nice. So have a look in this system to see what's about. So there are some landable planets here, but they're crazy distances away, so that's not going to work for us. We'll reserve that for another time then. That's going to take us way too long to get out there. Way too long for a stream anyway. Some of these places are worth going to, but that's actually quite pretty. So I'm just going to screen you that for a moment. There we go. We've got some nice colours there. And toggle the HUD. There we go. So that looks alright. There we go. There's some nice shots out here. And the DBX has its place because of landings as well. And I like the Phantom because yes, it's sort of a bit Millennium Falconish, isn't it? I would very much like to have a rotating antenna on top of that. I think that would really be good. Yeah, I've got that FSD booster as well. That is definitely worth doing. So if you haven't got the Frameshift Drive booster, that is one piece of Guardian technology I really would recommend. It's actually quite fun to do the unlock for that one, and many of the others. The Guardian stuff is actually quite well done. I quite like it, and it is quite a nice thing to get. You get a 10 light year boost on a big ship, which is definitely worth having. And I've got that on my crate, which is jolly nice. And somebody's posted on the astronomy. So yes, a big bit of news today on astronomy is that the Arecibo radio telescope is going to be decommissioned, which is actually really rather sad. It's quite an iconic thing, but it's been damaged over the last few years, and I think and I was quite amazed at this. If you haven't seen it, the Arecibo telescope is a massive radio telescope. Okay, it's not a steerable one. The actual dish is embedded in the ground. Okay, and it's a natural cavern that they've used. But a natural kind of bowl in the thing. It's and it's steered not by changing the bowl like you would know with a normal radio telescope, but by moving the antenna bit back and forth with some steel cables. And that central thing, it doesn't look very big, but apparently weighs hundreds of tons. So it's a big thing over the centre of this dish. And apparently some of the cables have snapped and the others are perishing, and it's too dangerous to repair. So they're going to have to decommission this telescope. Now this telescope has been in movies, it's been a James Bond filming location, it's been in all sorts of things. It was in Carl Sagan's movie Contact as one of the locales where they discuss alien transmissions. It also actually sent a transmission out into space for aliens to listen to. I think it was back in the 70s. We sent a transmission out using the Arecibo radio telescope for aliens to listen to in case they heard Earth. So it seems a real shame that it's actually being decommissioned after all these years, which is quite sad. So I read that today and I was like, no. I've never been there. It was sort of one of those slightly bucket list things that I wanted to do, and unfortunately, it's not going to be there. And they need to. That was 1974. There we go. Anarchy 100 says 23 by 73 pixel bitmap image, which was cleverly encoded to tell the alien some information. So Mintopia says apparently they might release the platform, all its cables explosively, letting the platform fall. So what is currently the biggest radio telescope on the Earth will soon no longer be. And China has the biggest one, does it? So we're waiting the Hitler picture, yes, from the movie Contact. That was a great movie. I did enjoy that, and Jodie Foster was brilliantly cast. in that one. So if you haven't seen Contact, great movie. Right, so let's head back down now. We're going to go and see if we can see the Flame Nebula. So let's get in there. So this is very much the Nebula tour this evening. Let's choose a nice vantage point there. That's the Horsehead Dark region. So I don't know how close we can get to this. This might be quite interesting. I need a star in there, really. There we go. That'll do. Can we get here though? This is the trick, because there are some wacky permit logs around this part of the world. Let's see. We can get there. Okay, so let's go there. I'll type it in the chat. Orion sector VT-A C3. Cyberdyne is always one jump behind. Okay, well, I'll let you catch up. It's not a problem. We're not in a particular hurry. We're coming up on 9, so we're doing all right. We're doing all right. It's all good. Let's head back down that way and see what we can get. Now, the Horsehead Dark region is important because, as you know, or as you may not know, the Horsehead Nebula is named because it looks a bit like a horse.
Frameshift drive charging.
I'll explain how that works in a minute. For those of you who don't know about it, any astronomers on the stream will already be completely aware of how that works. But it's an interesting thing from a perspective of Earth. So I'll pop up a picture of it when we get there, and I'll explain how it actually happens. Because there's two bits of it, two bits of the Horsehead Nebula. And they've been represented in Elite Dangerous as well as we believe it probably is. It won't be exactly like that, but because it's actually, although you'll see in Elite Dangerous that stars are represented here and stars are represented there and all different distances. All these distances are for actual real phenomenon in space. Are best guesses by astronomers. Okay, so Elite Dangerous has faithfully reproduced what astronomers believe to be the correct distances in space. But they may or may not be accurate, because it's actually really hard to work out distances in space, because all sorts of things can throw off your calculations. So many of the star distances that we have, when it says it's 100 light years away, that could be plus or minus 20 light years quite easily if we haven't taken into account, some oddities with the star itself, or potentially some gas and dust in between us and the object. So a lot of these things are very much plus and minus. So some of these things have been refined a bit since Elite Dangerous came out, and they're not all quite the same. And Elite Dangerous uses a mechanism called the Stellar Forge to generate the galaxy, which is in itself a remarkable technical achievement. But it's also still constrained by the limitations of PCs and the ability to represent 400 billion stars in a computer game, which is again is quite mind-boggling. But it's quite a tricky thing. So all those things are approximations of what's actually out there in space. And so we don't know if the Horsehead Nebula is exactly this distance or exactly how this works, but it's a bit weird. And the Horsehead Nebula, you're quite right, Duplex. It always looks more like a seahorse than an actual horse. But I suppose a seahorse, well, it's not a horse, of course, it's a fish, but it's sort of, it does look more like a seahorse, you're right. So, here we are. Let's just have a look at this system, because it might be nice to sit down for a bit if we can. See what's here. There's no planets at all. Okay, well, we might have to go and hunt for a planet. Okay, let's just get away from the star a little bit. Let's sort of see what we can see here. So we're now in the Flame Nebula, which is sort of off from line of sight from Earth. Is not too far away from one of the stars in Orion's belt, but actually nowhere near that star in reality. It's a very spectacular nebula from Earth through a photographic telescope. You can't see these things with the naked eye, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. So now we probably won't be able to see the Horsehead Nebula Dark region, as it's called, from here, because it will just literally be dark. But we can see some texture to the nebulas. Now here's the thing that's also happened since. I wonder if that may be it over there. Actually, there are some smudges and some various bits and pieces against the sky. You can see them in the background there. And Elite Dangerous does a good job of painting these things on the back. Thillian Sorn says, a horse is a horse, of course, of course. Nobody can talk to a horse, of course. Unless, of course, the name of the horse is the famous Mr. Ed. And if you don't know what that reference is, you're going to have to go back a lot further than 1970. I can't see the Horsehead Dark region, so let's have a look on the map, see if we can plot something close to it. So it's there, okay, so why is the Horsehead Dark region called the Horsehead Dark region? Let me show you a picture of the Horsehead Nebula from Earth. Now I'll explain how it works. It's quite nice. So just type in Horsehead Nebula. There we go. It's quite obvious. So here's a nice picture of. That's quite a good one. Now this one's even better. Let's go there. If I can pick up that one. There we go. So there's well. That one's, we're not very zoomed in. I want a nice big one. Give me a nice picture. Come on, Google. Size large. There we go. I want actually that. I mean, this one. It's not giving me a decent size one, which is irritating. There we go. That'll do. Give me that one. No, that's the same one. It's not giving me the actual large image, which is a bit irritating of it. Let's try that one. Give me the actual. There we go. Right, loading it up now. It's not a horse. It's Nessie. So yeah. So there's this is the region. Now these stars here. These are the two stars. Part of the two stars of Orion Belt. Now all of this stuff is there in space when we look at it from Earth, but you can't see it with the naked eye. It's way too faint. You can only see the stars. This is the Flame Nebula, and its reason for the Flame Nebula is fairly obvious. And this area here is the Horsehead Nebula, but it's not all one object. Okay, so what you've actually got here is you've got an emission nebula, which is red because of hydrogen, which is lit up, if you like. It's radiating light towards us at the red end of the spectrum, because of the influence of these bright stars nearby. But in front, from the perspective of the Earth, in front of this bright nebula is this black cloud of dust, okay, which is not glowing very much, which is sort of rolling around in front of the bright nebula, several light years behind it. And what you get from the perspective of the Earth is a black splodge, effectively lit up, in contrast, because it's black against a bright background. And so the Horsehead Nebula itself is usually referred to as this whole piece, but actually it's two pieces. It's this black bit in front of the light-coloured bit, and there's light years in between the two. And this bit here, the Horsehead itself, is called the dark region. And it's exactly right, Commander Kelvin. It's called an absorption nebula, so it's absorbing light. It's not really giving much out, so it appears to just be a dark shadow against a bright background. So that's what's actually happening in space. And it just so happens that from the Earth, this black cloud of stuff is in front of a bright area, and it gives us this quite distinct shape, and it looks a bit like a horse. And that's it. It's actually a plume. You can sort of make it out here on this image. It's a plume of material that's kind of curling around under gravity, and it just so happens in this epoch of time it looks like a horse, or at least some people think it looks like a horse. And in some of these images you can see a bit more detail. I mean, it's fuzzy, and you can see it's a cloud of stuff. All right. It will have moved, and it will have changed shape in 1,000 years' time. I don't know how swiftly that is moving, but it will be moving quite quickly, and it won't look like that. And of course, the light that we're receiving on Earth from this nebula, it's about 1,000 light years away, so we're actually seeing it as it was 1,000 years ago. So in 3306, if we're looking at it from Earth, it will look different. But if we jump out there, it'll also be 1,000 years further on again. Which is a bit weird. And I know that sounds a bit strange, but that's the nature of travelling through space-time. And Elite Dangerous, I don't think models the difference of light. I don't think it's that quite sophisticated, but over travelling over cosmic distances. But it's an interesting shape, and that is the Horsehead Dark region there, which is against this kind of a region here. Which is the kind of bit that's glowing. Now, we will struggle to get round the Horsehead Nebula because there's some weird stuff going on down here. in the game and in the lore. Okay, so let's see how close we can get. So we're going to actually try and travel through the Barnard's Loop area. Now we can't. I'll try. I'll show you what happens. The stars hereby are called the Horsehead Dark Region. You'll notice that it comes up with requires unknown permit. You can't traverse. You can't get into the Horsehead Nebula, and then that's a permit lock that occurred sometime in the year 3302 in game. So about 2 years after Elite Dangerous started. Because I went round this. I've been through here. I've been through here with a spacecraft in Elite Dangerous before that happened, and you could freely travel through this part of space. I got some screenshots and all sorts of things, but today you can't go in here, and no matter how close you get, you can kind of go around the periphery in some cases. So I think we can get there, for example. But if we try and go into the Horsehead Nebula, anything with Horsehead region on it comes up with requires unknown permit. All right, unknown permit. Kamakichi saying trapezium sector, WA. Let's type that in. Trapezium. So we can get close. We can get close. WY-AC10. Now, why did these permit locks come in? Now, at the time, we'll start there and see what else we can do. So go to Kamakichi suggests. So is that where Raxel lies? Well, I suspect that's unlikely. But this permit lock is a relatively new thing. It wasn't there when the game opened. Okay, because I travelled through this area of space and got some screenshots. And very pretty it was too. I didn't find anything unusual in the game. But in 3302, suddenly this area of the galaxy was locked off, and it doesn't say, if we go to Sol, you try and go to Sol as a new player, it comes up with Sol system permit required, and if you don't have that, you can't get in. But you can earn the Sol system permit, okay, by doing some missions and doing some stuff. However, these ones are unknown system permit, unknown permit required. Now, in the lore of Elite, permit locks are created and managed by the organisation called the Pilots Federation. So it would be sensible to argue that permit locks are managed by them. And so if a sector of the galaxy has been locked off, it's because they've decided to lock it off. That's one explanation. There are some other places, and somebody's already mentioned it, Polaris. Okay, Polaris has been locked from day one. That also requires an unknown permit lock. Now, in the lore of Elite Dangerous, Polaris is very heavily involved in Targoids. It's a destination that happened in the third game. There's a whole bunch of lore about what happened in the Polaris system. And that's been locked off in Elite Dangerous as well. So we don't know why those sectors have been permit locked. All we know is that we can't get in there anymore and have a good look around. So it's quite pretty, and it's annoying you can't get into it because it certainly was one of the best locations in the game for some screenshots, but it's not accessible anymore. It's going to fly away from the star for a bit. So that's, and we may want to see if we can get round the back, because it's, again, from this angle, it's a lot of dust and gas everywhere, but it's not particularly spectacular. So I'm going to try and choose a system around the outside that we can get a view of the actual structure of the nebula. Notice there it's showing up on the thing as permit required. You can't go there, which is weird. So let's get out of this dust and gas cloud. There was a system just over here that I thought looked quite nice. I think it was this bright one here. Let's try here. Because that's not quite as close as we can get. So that's Horsehead Dark Region. Let's put on the M-class stars as well. There we go. In fact, there aren't so many of them out here. can't go in here because these ones are all permit locked. That one does look like it may be the best option to get round the back. So let's see if we can plot there. Is it going to manage that? Yes, it is. Okay, so I'll type that in the chat. HD 37397. There we go. Let's go there next. See what the nebula looks like from there. So there are some oddities here. Now that area has been permit locked since 3302 in game. That's now 4 years ago, and there's been no explanation of why in lore that's happened. It's a mystery. All we know is you can't get into that region, and there are other region areas around here that are also permit locked in a similar fashion. So the outer game explanation is that Frontier have locked them off because of future content, but we really don't know. Maybe it's the Womble homeworld. I can remember wanting to go there as soon as the pill was lifted, but I was in the Sidewinder and didn't make it. Yeah, so I went out there. I played the game quite a lot in the early days and got myself an Imperial Clipper and went out there in the early part of the game to kind of get a look around. So we've now cleared, I think, the Barnard's Loop. Let's see if we can get away from the star a little bit. It brings the brightness of the background nebula up. Now the other thing about the nebulas is can I please wait there for a bit? Yeah, okay, I'll hang around for a bit. And then we'll make our way back to the tourist point, because we'll have to start heading up for the hyperspace jumps, of course, which is another tradition. So let's get over there. I've done the final jump. I've got to get in the right place. Now, one of the other things, the nebula graphics have sadly been toned down over the years. Now, Frontier have always denied this, but if you look at screenshots comparing the same vistas pre-3302 and then post, you'll notice a dramatic drop in the quality of the nebula renders, which is a bit of a shame, and Frontier never really admitted that it had happened, which was a sort of a slightly sort of blindsided view of it, because it was quite blatantly obvious that it had happened. But and we think it was because of optimizations required to get Elite Dangerous to work on consoles, and that's not to be nasty to the console players. It's just something that appears to have happened at the same time. So people have kind of put two and two together, because the detail that you could see in the nebulas prior to those times and then post those times was quite dramatically different. There were convoluted chains of gas, and now the nebulas are much more simple structures in the game now, and that may have been an optimization thing. That may be something that can be rolled back up again, given the rise of the PS5 and the Xbox, whichever it is now. And it might have been server stuff as well. So let's just have a look. I'm going to see, have we got a planet? The planets are in scarce. There's a fleet carrier here though. So actually, let's rendezvous there. I don't know who. Does anybody know? Is the Axiom part of the crew that's on here tonight? Just happens to be a fleet carrier there. So let's go to the Axiom fleet carrier. That allows us to at least have some screenshots together. So let's do that. It's actually behind us. And we'll just quickly rendezvous. Allow some of the other commanders to catch us up. I've been flying away from the star. So that's actually a nice double star there, isn't it? So let's have a look at that on the way through. And we can continue our tour of space nebulas and stuff. Can you still tweak it out with config? I don't know. I'm very wary of fiddling around with config settings on my game. So, and there is a black hole. Is there a black hole here? Didn't spot that. Oh, there is. Okay, well, we might. That's a good place to go for. How far away is the black hole actually? Because if it's not too far, those are quite cool things to go and look at. Okay, so yeah, it's there. So that's doesn't tell me there, but we might go and have a look at the black hole. So yeah, so and yeah, the beigification. So if you don't know what the beigification was, that was basically all the landable planets became kind of beige coloured, and it got rather boring and predictable. Yeah, and so those things have been fixed a bit. The beigeification has been dealt with, but the nebulas have never quite recovered to how they were back in the day. So if you look at some nebula screenshots from Elite Dangerous in the first 2 years of its gaming, before it was out on consoles, some of those look dramatically better. So we'll have to wait and see if that makes any sense. Right, so let's just rendezvous at the Axiom for a moment. There's a few of our colleagues carry. We are actually heading back the other way in a minute. So keep jumping because we'll be dropping back to go to the tourist point in the Orion Nebula, which is a place that we can visit as well. So anyway, so the Axiom here is good as well. Gorfic, Sasha says, "Hey Drew, is it okay if I stream your stream in the corner of my stream?" Yeah, of course you can stream your stream in the stream. That makes sense. That's all good. I just noticed another friend request there, so I'll just add that one in. There we go. So there's the Axiom, and if I can just get my ship, where's the actual nebula? Let's just have a look. It's kind of. So that's the star. Where's the nebula itself? I can't see. Where's the problem with the star being that close? Is it's kind of outshining the backdrop a bit. So that is kind of it. So this is where the graphics used to be that much better. It was much more distinct. Previously, you can see a little bit of styrations over there and stuff, but anyway, that's not unpretty. Where's the fleet carrier? Let's fly to the other side of it in order to get a nice shot. So rendezvous will be over there. I think that will give us the shot we're looking for. We can have that star behind us. Let's see if that looks okay. So there's the star, there's the fleet carrier, and the nebula as well. So that's not bad. That's not bad. There we go. That's always quite nice to see. So there we go. You should be able to join up with me there. And there's quite a. There we go. That's not bad, is it? There we go. Let's do it like that. So I don't know whose fleet carrier that is, but thank you for parking it there. That's very good. The black hole is the B star. Okay, so the black hole is surprisingly close to the B star. There are some tweaks like the one that gives different colours to the HUD. Okay, excellent. Okay, I haven't tried that. That might be something that's worth having a look at. So that'd be quite cool. There are various tweaks. You can also change all sorts of angles in the game, and do bits and pieces by fiddling around with the config files. But do be aware that you take your life in your own hands a little bit by fiddling with config files. So there we go. But yes, it's a pretty part of the world, pretty part of space, should I say. And there's a few bits and pieces out here that we're looking at. So a nice bright star. And these are the stars that are actually powering the emissions of the nebula. So these stars are obviously very bright in white light, as you can see from Elite Dangerous, but they're also in reality giving off an awful lot of ultraviolet radiation, which of course you can't see. But when that ultraviolet radiation hits the particles in the nebula, they get excited, as physicists like to say. When they calm down again, they give off photons. So they accept a photon of ultraviolet radiation, get all excited, and when they calm down, they give off a photon. But they give off a photon at a different frequency, and that frequency is quite often red or blue light, depending on what kind of atom has been hit by the ultraviolet. So invisible radiation, as far as we can see, can then generate visible light by effectively bouncing off things. And that's what these emission nebulas do. And you can sort of see it there in the structure there of the. It's kind of there. I mean, in between the fleet carrier and the star, you can see that region of space. Now, it used to be a place for some really, really good screenshots, but we can't get in there. It's annoying. You can't get any closer, which is a bit irritating because it's quite a nice part of the galaxy to go and have a look at. But there we go. There we go. And we got some nice ships. We got a nice backdrop, and that's what that's part of Elite Dangerous is all about, which is quite good fun. And yeah, the Pleiades were the wrong colour to start with. So yeah, I heard that was supposed to be a different wavelength view. There's always an explanation that works, right? So that's always quite good fun. So yeah, it's pretty. It's a pretty part of space, and it's nice that we can actually go and kind of see it for real in the game like this. The Pleiades, of course, we went out there the other week. A few people got caught by the Thargoids, which is always an occupational hazard in that part of space in 3306. But there we go. So hopefully you've arrived. So Cyber says is one jump out. So hopefully we'll see that. See him arrive as well. If you're already there, do let us know, and then we might have, what time have we got? It's 22. We can go and have a quick look at this black hole. So I'm quite keen on doing that. So there we go. So yeah, a nice little collection of ships in the instance here as well, which is always good. And the fleet carrier Axiom, which I don't know if that's part of the tour, but there we go. So hopefully you'll be in this. Actually, there's something I've not noticed before, is that Dangerous does alter the exposure settings as you bring the star into focus. It does dim that down slightly, which is quite nice. Does look cool there. Let's just zoom away. I can see another ship over there. Master Feely is getting a lot of screen time, so that's always the bonus, isn't it? If you get your ship in the instance, you get to see yourself on the stream, which is quite cool. I quite enjoy that kind of stuff. So are you there, Cyber? Have you made it? In system. There, he's caught us up. Okay, so he's rocking in. So we'll give him a moment to go. Now there are a few more nebulas and things to visit on the rest of the tour. Now we're coming to the closing parts of the tour. Actually, there are some oddities that we need to go and visit. So some of the stuff that is coming up are things like some of the biggest stars. There's some quite interesting places. We've got to go and visit some neutron stars and things like that, and there's some more black holes on the list as well. I guess I mistyped. The black hole is very close to the sea star. Okay. But we haven't jumped yet. So yes, Kamakichi, the crab pulsar, is definitely one of the ones on the list. Some of these are a bit further away, so I'll publish some destinations up to make sure you can get to them. But yeah, the crab pulsar is definitely one I want to go and see, because again, that's visible from Earth. The crab pulsar is very interesting from an astronomy perspective as well, because it was seen as a supernova by the Chinese astronomers, and I think the year 1000 and something, because and it actually took place a long time before that, but it took a long time for the light to reach the Earth. So that is an ancient historical observation of a supernova done by the Chinese, and if you look at the crab, if you look at that point in the sky now, there's this massive exploded star, it's quite nice for us to be able to verify that. Cyberdome can't get into the instance. No. Do I use a HOTAS? Yes, I do. I have a Thrustmaster T1600M. T16000M, and its corresponding. I can't do that. USB cable's not long enough, but yes. And I'm left-handed, so I've got them back the wrong way, which means I fly with the stick with my left hand and try and use the throttle with my right, which doesn't work very well with the buttons, but I've learned to adapt. Anyway, good try. Let's go and have a look at this black hole while we're here, because black holes are always quite interesting. Wrong button. So the black hole is there. You can always tell a black hole because, of course, it's black. First discovered by Bloody Nutter, who's probably British. I would have thought. Do I play on the yeah, I've got my Akai MIDI control, but we'll come to that later on in the stream. So there we go. Right, so there's the black hole. So let's fly forward. It's probably not all that far away. So those of you who are in the instance of me, see if you can stay with me. It's 245 light seconds away, so we're not too bad. There we are. I can see a few people flying around as well. And yeah, unfortunately in Elite Dangerous, black holes are not at all well, not interesting is not the right word. They're not at all dangerous, and there should be some danger associated with a black hole. We discussed this last week. Whereas, oddly enough, neutron stars and white dwarfs, which are on the scale of weirdness in the universe, probably not quite so high up as a black hole, are actually quite perilous. So you can get killed by a neutron star, and you can get killed by a white dwarf. But I don't think, unless somebody corrects me, you can. I don't think you can actually die by doing anything to a black hole. I think it just sort of, I think maybe you could get heat damage. I think you could possibly die that way, but you'd have to be working quite hard to kill yourself off. Oops! And now I've gone too fast. Let's roll back. I'm not going to make it, am I? Oops! Little shame for me. Actually, this black hole is so close to the star that it's almost in fuel scooping range, which is quite cool actually. Now it's a shame again. Elite Dangerous doesn't model this sort of stuff all that well because you can see it's doing its gravitational lensing, which is quite nice. What I'm going to try and do actually is just get the black hole between me and the star if possible. Let's just have a quick look over on the right. There we go. Because it's quite nice to see the black hole distorting stuff behind it because of its gravitational lensing. So I'm just going to keep banking my ship around here, and then once I get the star in the right place, there it is there. So trying to fly my ship sideways here, that's always a slight art form. Right, okay, so I'm going to throttle down there. Now, with a bit of luck, if I just go back to the forward swing and get my... So the black hole's actually there. This one is actually really, really close to the star, which is interesting, actually. Now, if I can get the angle correct, well, does it distort? It doesn't actually distort the star. That's a shame. I thought it did. So actually, I don't want to do it there. I want to get it away from the star. So that's actually not correct. So that's a graphical limitation of Elite Dangerous. I hadn't realised that actually. I thought it distorted all the background imagery, but it doesn't. It's only distorting the background imagery, if that makes sense. And I can't see it anymore now because of all the other ships in Super Cruise. They're all coming into the black hole at quite close range. So, and down to very, very low distance. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to need to adjust up. Now, if I can get the nebula in the background, I'm 376 kilometers away, so quite a long way out. Actually. Try and frame shift a little bit closer actually. Let's try and see if I can get nicely close to it.
4, 3, 2,
it's yeah, proceed. Yeah, I just want to throttle right back, but I want to get in. I want to get it between me and the nebula, which of course is quite difficult to see. There we go. Right. Let's try dropping it down. Whoa! Oh! Oh! I hit it. And that's about as scary as the black hole gets. I don't even know where the black hole is now. There. I'm 25 kilometers away from it, so, and I can't really make it out. Oh, I can. Okay, no. Let's proceed forward. So, well, it's quite. It's quite hard. Now, a black hole at this range. What's your heat? You just cooked. Yeah, my heat is 62. Okay, so body exclusion zone, and I can't really see anything. What is happening is that I'm not accelerating forward. Something. So anyway, so I can't. That's basically it. I can't see it, and then the bright star nullifies the distortion. So actually, it's not the most. it's sort of repulsing me, which of course is not what a black hole would do. I can't go any closer. The game engine is not allowing me in. That seems to be the closest you can get. So it's an invisible. Yeah, there we go. Body exclusion zone here. So, of course, a real black hole should have wiped me out by now. Should have destroyed me. So I'll just back off then. There we go. That seems to be the closest you can actually get. But yeah, the gravitational the side, you know, the tides would have ripped my ship to pieces at that sort of range. A black hole orbiting this close to a star would have a stream of stellar material being sucked off it, and then rotated around the black hole in a massive accretion disk. It would look quite spectacular. So, black holes are something that definitely need some TLC in Elite Dangerous. They don't look right. They weren't bad, you know, 5-6 years ago, but you know, our expectations of what they look like have moved on quite a bit since 2014, and we you know, black holes need a makeover. If you get the black hole in front of the star, no, it didn't. It didn't do anything. This one is so small that it's actually really hard to get it in the right location. So I can't really do much with it, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. The one we saw the other week was much better. Get a bit of distortion. This one's so small it's hard to get it into the right place. Yeah, we've all watched Interstellar, and Interstellar was quite a bit close. So there we are. I was actually kind of inside it there. Did you see that weird effect? Let's just zoom around again, see if at 0 speed it will. I'm so close to it that I can't even turn around in time. I'm just going to try that one more time. Let's just see if I can throttle back and get it in front of me. Let's see if we can see any of that distortion. So there it is. You can, yeah, there you go. You can sort of see the distortion at that range. There we go. I'm going to drop out there because actually there you can sort of see a little bit of the gravitational lensing effect. It's not very strong. I don't know at what range it will be actually. This is not one of the best black holes in the game. So there are much better ones, but you can kind of sort of see it there. Anyway, but, so there we go. That's yeah. Black holes need TLC. Right now we need to start heading back because we're getting close to time. Can somebody remind me where we're going? The Orion tourist beacon. We haven't been to one of these. There's an asteroid base there. And I've forgotten the name of the system. Well, I mean, there we go. Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. PMD 2009 space 48. I don't know what that name is all about. It's a little bit way back, so we're going to take a little bit of time to get. Well, I won't, but my ship's quite fast. But this is where we need to head. This is where the lovely fleet carriers are awaiting us. Let's make sure I was on the right route there, or the fast route. PMD 2009. PM Dawn, I don't know whether it has a significant meaning or anything. But let's get over there. For me, it's my ship is not too far. It's 5 jumps for me, so I'm going to make it there. But everybody head there, and head for the asteroid base. Okay. Head for the asteroid base. We haven't been to an asteroid base on the tour yet. In fact, I don't think we went to an asteroid base on your tour either. So let's pop across there and have a look at an asteroid base as a kind of way to finish up, because we've got we've got to do a jump, and we've got to do our MIDI sequence to that jump and all that kind of good stuff. So that's all to come, as is tradition on these streams. Repairs are suspended on the Axiom, says. Did you get damaged, Simon's Army? Hope your ship's okay. So we'll travel back through the trapezium. Our ship's fortunately completely not affected by the dust and gas out here, which is good. Doesn't do anything weird and negative to our ships. And we'll get back across this part of space. The black hole solid radius is 0.0000, so that's fairly dense, isn't it? Slightly trying to, yeah. So you can get to. There are plenty of fleet carriers at PMD 2009-48. So all very friendly fleet carriers out in that spot, that part of space.
Fuel scooping.
Now, one of the things I must do with my Elite Dangerous account is, despite all this flying around in space and doing stuff, because I haven't been doing the FSS properly, I'm still not elite on anything, and this is an atrocious thing for me as an elite player. Is genuinely I'm not elite on on any of my accounts. Okay, so you can see here. This is probably the closest I am to elite on any of my accounts. Here is my Explorer rank. I'm still Pioneer. I've got 50%, or well, 44% of my my Pioneer rank to go to get to elite. So I think I probably need to do a stream at some point, which is just going to be entitled to Get Drew to Elite. Because I do feel, after 6 years of playing this game, it's about time I was elite. And I'm not bothered about triple elite, because I'm never going to do that in combat because I'm rubbish at it. But trade I could probably do. But I do kind of want to sort of not grind it specifically, because that elite ranking that you see there there's no grind involved in that. That's just me tooling around the galaxy, mucking around doing things. So I do feel like I should continue to sort of doing that. But at some point in the hopefully not too distant future, I will have amassed enough exploration data to get me to elite. I think there should be a big celebration on the stream when I finally do get to be elite, because I do feel I really ought to be by now. After all this time, because I've been streaming for, I don't know, 2 years. Been involved with elite since the very beginning. Now I was elite in the original game. I hasten to add, so I have been elite in the past. But I'm not elite in Elite Dangerous, which is slightly shocking. I really should get that sorted out. So, I keep forgetting to scan the systems as I'm on the way through, because I'm just tooling around looking at things. You'll get explosion loot flying to play. Well, have I been to Colonial on this account? I mean, we are the last. It's probably worth mentioning. I think I will do it on this Astro Tour actually, because the last destination of the Astro Tour is quite a long way out. It's almost to Colonia, so I'm just bracing. Actually, that's a pretty good view there, isn't it, of the Orion Nebula? That's probably why this place has been chosen. The last destination on the Astro Tour in a few weeks' time, close to Christmas, is a special system called Evelyn's Light, which has been recently named and put in Elite Dangerous by the lovely guys at Frontier. And it's actually based on. It's in the memory of a young girl who died earlier this year. Very, very, very sad story. I wrote her a story, Elite Dangerous story, which I based on, some stuff I was told about her. I just wrote the story and gave it to her. To the family as something to remember her by, because her father loved playing the game, and he's still a commander who's flying around. But Frontier went a little bit further on that. What they did is they took the details of the story and they put it in the game. And I won't, if you haven't listened to the story, then I won't spoil it for you. But it'd be worth you listening to it before we go on the sort of pilgrimage out there, because it is Christmas related. Okay, I can't give you any more clues than that. So go and listen to the story. It's on YouTube. You'll find it. Evelyn's story, Elite Dangerous. Go and listen to that. And we're going to go out there as the last stop on the Astro Tour, and go and do it. But it's a fair old way. So bear in mind, it's actually most of the way to Colonia. So with a bit of luck, not only will we go and see it, because I haven't been out there yet deliberately. But hopefully I'll get I'll get my elite rating on the way, which will be awesome. Right, so I just want to check out the. I want to check out the asteroid base. So let's go and do that first. The Orion Nebula Tourist Center. It sounds quite funny. I wonder if they do key rings and key fobs there. Is it on my YouTube channel? Yes, it is. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll find it there. Along with Michael's story, which is another story I wrote for a young man who, again, the previous year sadly passed away. So both of these stories are, sadly named after very young people who obviously died a long time before they should have done, due to to illnesses that were untreatable, which is very sad. Which is always a reminder to me, and to all of us, who are blessed with more years, to always take advantage of every minute of every day of every year, right? So carpe diem, as they say in Latin, seize the day. So do they do sticks of rock at the Orion Nebula Tourist Center? I have no idea. I hope they do. The Orion Nebula Tourist Center really should be a tacky place, shouldn't it? There should be mugs, there should be key rings, there should be, I don't know, get your Orion Nebula scarf. Visual rock, yeah. It should, postcards of the Orion Nebula. I wish you were here. Kind of postcards, all that sort of stuff. It should be ultra tacky. That's what it should be like. So yeah, so mug, yes. So these places would be really cool if, when we get Odyssey, you could look around them and buy cheap tat with your credits and decorate the inside of your spaceship with them. So that would be fun, because by 3306 this would be for the other mug. Which actually reminded me, there's Hydrogen Poo at the Tourist Centre. Reminds me, again, another sad thing today that I was told of. One of the Hutton truckers, a dear chap by the name of Baz, I can't remember his commander name, it's something else, but anyway, Baz, he's been working with the Special Effect charity for many years. Okay, and Special Effect is a great charity. They raise funds and expertise for physically disadvantaged people to play games. Okay, so if you have lost the use of your arms or your legs, or physically disabled in any way at all, these guys will find a way to modify controllers. So they'll take the guts out of HOTASes and joysticks and gaming keypads, all that sort of stuff. They will modify them specifically for the disability that an individual has, so that they can play computer games. Okay, so they can join in and do all this stuff. So they are a very cool charity. Now Baz is a leading light in this charity, and he unfortunately the other day suffered a stroke, completely out of the blue. As I understand, the last update I heard today was that he's obviously in hospital at the moment, and he has lost the movement down one side of his body. So thoughts and hopes are with him for a speedy recovery from that. I hope he makes a full recovery. He's a great guy, and I know the Hutton Truckers are holding a special event actually this evening as well. So it'll be worth you checking out their YouTube channel in a little while once they post it up. So you can get a feel for some of the stuff that they're doing. So do pop across there. And my thoughts again with the Hutton Truckers. They're the guys who did this whole For the Mug thing. You can visit their home base in the Alpha Centauri system if you fancy a very long trip to Hutton Orbital, which is about, I don't know, is it an hour and a half of frame shifting to get to it? Somebody will tell me. An hour and a half of frame shifting. So there we go, to get there. But so anyway, thoughts with Baz, and I hope he makes a very speedy recovery. If you go to their Facebook page, you can send him a message. We're collating messages from the Elite Dangerous community to send to him as he convalesces in hospital. So there we go. So anyway, so there's the Nebula Tourist Center. So it looks appropriately tacky. These are quite nicely done. They're sort of space stations embedded in. So actually, Mintopia, if you get a fleet carrier that's going to Hutton Orbital, that is by far the fastest way of getting there. It is much quicker than actually going yourself in your own ship. But anyway, that's quite a nice spot, isn't it? In a ring system, on the edge of the nebula. So you can have a good view of stuff. It's quite pretty stuff. Right, so we need to choose a fleet carrier now. I'm going to choose one that as close to what we can do now. Can the fleet carrier owner, if possible, set their ship to jump out at nearest to 10 o'clock as possible? Let's have a look who's here. So I need to choose kind of one that we haven't done before, so otherwise I'll get accused of favoritism. So we have the Tanalorn, we have the Dead Star Harbour, Wimbledon Common, the Absolution is here, the Ommarin Langi, Of Course I Still Love You, Lady of Fate, the Valiant was last week, JMC Mining Ship Red Dwarf, Flavour of Wine, the Pioneer, the Amadari, Storm's Nest, and the Akagi. Is that right? Akagi. Okay, it's 50 minutes, so that's absolutely fine. So let's choose. Now I don't think we've done the Of Course I Still Love You. So I'm tempted to choose that one. Dead Star Harbour. Is Mintopia says that's mine. Right, let's do that then. Come on, everybody to the Of Course I Still Love You. It sort of sounds a little bit like a bit of a James Bond film. Well, Of Course I Still Love You. It's like The Spy Who Loved Me. Is it a culture reference? Anyway, so we will all people get to the Of Course I Still Love You. And we'll rendezvous there for our jump. So of course, so it's actually a SpaceX one, but from Culture originally. Okay, definitely Culture. Cool. If you can set it to jump out at as nearest to, the Amadari belongs to you, Anna Claire. Okay, we'll definitely do a jump from there at some point in the future. Let's do this one tonight, and Dragon Knight says, okay, ED Torpy is an interface that allows you to use the Tobai eye trackers to play Elite Dangerous. The overlay splits the screen to multiple areas that can be activated individually by using gazing and blinking to simulate a mouse click. So there you go, that's the sort of stuff that special effect do. So even if you can't, physically move, all you've got is your eyeballs and a blink reflex, you can still play Elite Dangerous as a result of the work that those guys are doing. So that's awesome. So so well done to those guys. It's really impressive stuff. Just thrusting. That's probably quite a nice screenshot in itself. Let's just have a quick look around. So there's us flying up out of the ring plane. There's the big asteroid. Yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it? Oh, there's some lasering going on over there. Some bad dudes are having fun in the belt. I've got all the lights of my ship on. We don't need that. Right, have I got out of mast lock yet? No. Right, so for those of you, what we need to do again, which carrier? It's the Of Course I Still Love You. It has a super cool pink landing pads. Is that your one, Anna Claire? That's awesome. We'll check that out. So let's remind me next week, Anna Claire. We'll do a jump from the Amadari next week, if I'm pronouncing that right. The Belters are nutters, yes. I do love the accent they use for the Belters in The Expanse. That's always I've always enjoyed that.
Frameshift drive charging.
So I'll make a mental note of that. The Amadari for next week.
3, 2, 1, engage.
But let's go to the Of Course I Still Love You. Let's just get this nice big chunky gas jar out of the way. Don't forget some of the... Yes, I should do a retro elite stream. So again, just for those of you who hopefully will join me on Saturday. Saturday will be the a retro stream again. So back by popular demand, where a few people commented on the stream, and I got a couple of emails saying, "Why did you stop?" And so it's coming back. So on Saturday at 1 p.m. On this stream, I will start a playthrough of Frontier Elite 2. And see how far we get. So I've got it working. That was a little bit fiddly because of course it's a DOS game from 1993. Doesn't really play all that well with modern PCs. So you have to get DOSBox, which is an excellent piece of software that pretends to be DOS on your computer, so you can run all the old software. Then you've got to tweak around the speed and all that kind of good stuff. So So yeah, so I've been enjoying my free afternoon. Well, it's I really I'm actually, to be honest, I'm really looking forward to it, because it's a game I did play later on, but but I only really played it for research purposes. Actually, we're going to have a lovely ring background today. I totally cocked that up actually. So there we go. Yeah, so when I was writing my Elite books back in 2014, when Elite Dangerous, the Kickstarter was a thing and all that kind of stuff, I had played the original game, and I kind of assumed that Elite Dangerous was going to be a sort of mash, you know, an onwards from the original Elite, and then it turned out that it wasn't. It was going to be based on Frontier Elite 2 and Frontier First Encounters, which is effectively Elite 3, and Elite Dangerous is really Elite 4. Okay, when I was writing the books, I was thinking, damn, I'm going to have to go look at those games because I never really played them properly. So I did some hasty research and played them a bit, and some people, very kind people, sent me some save game files from later on in the play experience, so I could look at some of the bigger ships and all that kind of stuff. So, and I really only did it for research purposes. So I will hold my hand up and say I haven't actually played Frontier Elite 2 and Frontier First Encounters properly all the way through. So it's, for me, it's going to be an interesting little learning experience. Right, so first things first. Now, if those of you who are in my instance can start playing the instancing game, then we will get that running. So if you're in my instance, you don't need to wing up with me anymore. You can just stay here and wing somebody else in that isn't in the instance. They can then jump out and jump back in again, and hopefully they'll end up in the instance with us. That's the way it has to work because of the way Elite Dangerous's instancing system works. So with a bit of luck, that will work for us. So see if you can do that once you're in the instance, and we'll play it. And we'll need an invite to the instance. So I will start doing some of those. So all these people are local, so they're okay to me, so that's good. So Sephiridian, you're the first person there. Oh, I had you there for a moment. Why did my... It disappeared. There we go. Right, I'm going to give you a wing invite. There you go. So hopefully... Oh, no, you're already in a wing. Kamakichi says, I need a wing. This is... Oh, it's fine. Kamakichi, there we go. Right, so invite to wing. So I'm just going to try and fill up my wing with people. I've got Kamakichi there, that's good. Commander Sapphire, give you a try. See if you get the wing rock. Once you're in the instance, then remove yourself from the wing. Okay, so my wing is full for the moment, so we'll keep doing that. So anybody who is in the instance with me, if you can wing up people who aren't, get them to jump in and jump out, or jump out and jump in rather. Once they're in, then rinse and repeat, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to let these guys get in the instance with me. So right, the other thing we need to do while that's going on, I need to find us a location to jump to, which is picturesque-ish. So it's a little bit busy around here. Let's try something. I'm just going to randomly pick a star and see. Let's go back up that way. I don't want to go too far because it might be out of jump range. That blue star there, I think, I don't know if I selected it. Ah! Oh, I hate it when that happens. Let's try, there we go, it's that one. Let's see, let's turn off, that's a good tip, let's turn off those wretched M-type stars. There we go. It's a little bit clearer, there we go. Right, so can we select it? Plot the route to jump. Let's just, what I'll do is I'll see where it is. Right, let's, okay, so it's down and to the right. I don't think that's going to work because I think there's a planet in the way. Well, actually no, it's through the rings, so, well, that could be interesting, but it's not really very picturesque. So let's see if we can get something that's, what I'd like is something that takes us out across the rings. Yeah, not that one. something at kind of right angles to that. Let's try that one. Actually, I don't need to do that. Let's just select it, so then that tells us where it is. Okay, so that's over there. Use a nice asp. That one's definitely behind the planet, so that is exactly the wrong direction. Okay, right, so let's go around the other side. Let's try this one here. So I'm going to select that. Okay, that easy hunting over there. That's good. So, and if it's that's nice. It's not a very easy number. Let's see if I can get another system in that direction with a slightly more memorable name. This one, okay, that one's a bit easier. Let's try that one. It is 21 light years away. That should be jumpable for everybody. And it's above the rings, which is looking good. Okay, that one's looking good. Right. So there's the fleet carrier. So I'm going to back away a little bit. Where are we jumping? We're going to aim for about 7 minutes time. I haven't had an announcement from the, so about 10:05 is in-game time is when we want to jump. So I'm just going to back off so we can watch the fleet carrier go. So for those of you who are in the instance, if you can form up on me, let me put that planet in the chat. So you've got it. So BD, I think it's 06, it might be 06, I'm not sure. So it's either BD-06 or 06, it's not entirely clear. It's one of those, so try that. Instancing is being very dumb, this is annoying. Try your best, my friends, it's always a bit of roulette. So there's the fleet carrier ready to go. So I need to fire up the music. So fleet carrier owner. It is a 0. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Let's let me fire up some music. Wing signal might help. Let me switch that on for you. That's a very good call. There we go. So for those of you in the instance, form up behind me. And let me get that running. Put that on the other screen. Project. Yeah. Come on. Recent projects. There we go. It's too much stuff. It gets complicated at my age. Right, I've got the wing. The wing up is not working. Okay, this is. It's a bit irritating. We struggle with this on some weeks. Some weeks it works. Some weeks it's not happy. Right, so who needs a Cyberdami needs a wing invite. Oh, someone's just been shot. What's going on out there? I'm drifting, am I? Okay. So somebody's come a cropper with the. I can hear the game music is doing its. I can't get my ship to go still. Did somebody do something bad to the fleet carrier? I think that's 0. It says 0. There we go. Nice light show, yes. I think somebody's doing something naughty with the fleet carrier. Someone used pack hounds by the look of it, and the fleet carrier took exception to it. Right, who needs an invite here? Right, Commander Clark E18. Let's see if I can find you. There we go. Try that, my friend. See if that works. Right, we do need. It's blasting away, isn't it? Right, let's have a look on the external camera. Right, there's all sorts of ships hanging around here. So if the owner of the fleet carrier, it's sort of boss music, yeah. So when the fleet carrier starts, all the big ships start doing things, then the game starts playing music, doesn't it? So, oops, I'm just. bounced into somebody. Right, so the fleet carrier, can you give us a countdown as to when the fleet carrier is due to go? We'll start the music ready for the stream. So quite a nice view across the ring system there. Somebody's bashing my ship. Who's that? Or is that my ship moving on its own? Maybe my vertical thrusters are firing. I can't see which ones. I think my ship's got scrunched. Yeah, so in-game time to hit jump. So, okay, so 3 minutes until jump, says Mintopia. That's when the ship is going. So we should be good to jump. Let's do it at 22:06. Okay, so 22:06. For ships. There we go. What system do we target? That was up earlier. It is. Let me grab it from the chat. The target system is BD 061250. Everyone's got it. There we go. So we'll wait for the main ship to list. What's the music? Ah, yeah. So what's the music tonight? Okay, so we need to go back in time. Okay, we are currently mass locked. Yes. What we'll do is we're hoping that the fleet carrier should jump away a minute beforehand. If I've got my timings right. So the fleet carrier should not be there when we jump. That is the plan. 1 minute 40 till the jump. So I think I've got the timing right. So jump for the assembled ships is at 22:06, and the jump for the fleet carrier is the minute before. So fingers crossed the fleet carrier will go first, and then we'll be off as well. Now I've mentioned Back in Time. Now Back to the Future is a good guess. Okay. Back to the Future is a good guess, but it's not the right one. You need to go back 21 years. 21 years, okay? And then you need to add where we are currently to that number, and that will give you your clue as to tonight's tune. So 21 years, what's that? What happened 21 years ago? Waiting for the chat to catch up. Should have worked out by now. Come on, guys. Come on. 21 years ago. No, 21 years ago. Space 1999. He's got it. There we go. Yay, Space 1999. Yes. Which I thought actually wasn't a. I thought it was actually an American TV show. It's not. It's actually British. So we're going to party like it's Space 1999. All right. So we're just waiting for the fleet carrier to make its move. It should be going. Right, here it goes. The fleet carrier is departing. And the graphics are working. Yay! And there it goes, disappearing into the dark of the Orion Nebula. Boom. Farewell, of course, I still love you. So yes, so the moon left orbit on the 13th of September 1999. For those of you who missed that, that was a big tragedy. So right, we must get moving. Okay, so form up on me. It has gone. Farewell to the fleet carrier. We are heading for BD06. So we normally fly at about 100 meters per second. So you should have seen me now depart. So basically, get to 100 meters per second, head for the right destination, charge your frame shift drive. I've just noticed I've missed the timing, so we're going to have to go for it. We're going to have to go. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes, all right? So jump at 22:08. The timing hasn't quite worked. There we go. Jump at 22:08. So follow me. Charge your frame shift drive. That's 1 minute 30 seconds away now. So don't throttle up though. Okay. Otherwise you will jump. You don't want to jump yet. So charge, but don't throttle up. Stay at 100 meters per second. So for those of you who saw me, most of you got the hang of this now. So I wonder what he's actually jumped. That was premature jumpulation or something. Something that's quite a nice view actually. Look at that, it's all jumping away across. Let's see how many of us we can get in shot. So hopefully the fleet is there. We're all kind of moving up. You'll get better at it, Sidewinder 40. It's okay. If you can double back, you might be lucky. But there we go. So there's the fleet. Okay. Now if I can tuck in behind them, then I can get the right angle. So right, we are almost ready for the jump. So let's do some Space 1999. I'm just going to get us all in shot, and then we're ready to jump. So let's key the music. Space 1999 it is. Where is it? Quick! Press the button. It's all happening. Here we go. Hopefully this works. Season 1, definitely season 1. There they go. Always love this. Alright, time for me to throttle up too. I had a lot of fun doing this one actually. It's a wacky piece of music. It's surprisingly complicated. Now, somebody has been talking about the DMCA takedowns and stuff. Now, I've looked into this because I am doing the MIDI files myself. They count as cover versions because I'm not using the original files. So I'm not pinching it from the actual TV shows. I'm sort of reverse engineering the sound and making my own cover version of it in MIDI format. It is close enough to get a copyright recognition. But I can get away with it under fair use because I'm doing it as a cover version. So it's a bit sneaky. So that's my rationale. So it also allows me to exercise my old MIDI skills, which I do with this little keyboard here, and it's all good fun. So so I've had a few copyright kind of like, oh, okay, we spoiled what you're doing, but it's all cool. So very good. Anyway, we will rendezvous next week again, my friends. Doing more MIDI shenanigans, more flying around the universe, longer and longer distances, and seeing some of the weird stuff in the universe, okay? And seeing if we can get the instancing to support our mass jumps even better. But we will crack on with that next week. If you want to join me on Saturday, please do. I will be doing my Frontier Elite 2. So if you want to do a bit of retro Elite, not the original game, but the second one, Frontier Elite 2, I'm going to be starting from scratch on Saturday at 1 PM. So enjoy that. And I'm also back on Mondays where we have a general sci-fi chinwag about sci-fi stuff. Okay, and we're actually doing Pew Pew on Monday. So if you want to come along on Monday for a chat about what space combat would probably actually be like, as opposed to what it actually really is like in TV shows and computer games, then join us on Monday as well for a bit of a chinwag. It's just a sort of just chatting, chill and hang out session. So there we go. Yes, I'll try and stick some stuff in the Discord for you guys. Yeah, I've been a bit busy and haven't been keeping up with that as much as I would like to. So yes, point taken. I will try and do that. Take care, my friends. Look after yourselves. Be good. And stay safe out there, of course. And I will see you. If I don't see you on Saturday, and I didn't see you on Monday, I will see you next Thursday. Right on, Commanders. Be good, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much for turning up on the stream. I hope you've had time. See you soon. Bye bye now.